Welcome to the Elegance of Nae. I'm your host, Nae, and on this podcast, we'll be talking about a variety of topics with amazing stories. Let's get into it, shall we? Hey guys, before we begin the show, we just want to give a quick shout out to TC's Art Gallery. That is T as in Tom, C as in Cat, S as in Sam, Art Gallery. They do amazing social media advertisement, logo design, website design, and they even help with social media management. Check them out today at TC's Art Gallery LLC.square.site. All right, let's start the show. Welcome back to the Elegance of Nae podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and today we have someone new in the building. Today we have the one and only Ms.Sharlene Burris, aka my mother dear. How are you
today? I am great. Thank you, Trinae. How are you?
I'm good. So how are you mentally and physically today?
I'm great. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's start from the beginning. Ooh. So from when you were a kid, from elementary to middle school, how were you?
How was I as a child? You mean you're trying to say like was I a good student, bad, some of that nature?
More so just like just how were you? Were you very social, very playful from elementary and middle school?
No, actually I was not. So growing up in my community, east side of Detroit, so I wasn't necessarily into playing and getting dirty and things of that nature because I knew I couldn't get my clothes dirty and things of that nature. So I didn't have like play clothes like some children may have had. So I wasn't into just playing, going outside to play for the sake of getting dirty. So I spend a lot of time probably, I'll go out and watch some children or whatever, our community children that's in the neighborhood, but I wouldn't necessarily be playing. I'll sit on the porch, read the newspaper or something of that nature, but wasn't interested in playing too much.
Okay. So how were you in middle school, like middle school to high school? How was that transition for you?
Middle school was great. I was into science. I was part of the DEPSA program. That was what that was called, Detroit Area Pre-College Engineering Program. DEPSA, Detroit Engineering, Pre-College Engineering, some of that nature. Might have to look it up, but that was fun. Same thing. I never was a cliquish type person, so pretty much stayed to myself and was around people who were not into cliques and things of that nature, and pretty much was about their business, about school. Wasn't into skipping and hanging out and stuff, so I didn't have friends that did that. So it was pretty much the same thing about school. Wanted to get finished, want to do what I was supposed to do. Always been a rule follower, pretty much.
Okay. And what sparked your interest in being in DEPSA, being into science?
Well, it was our science teacher at the time, Mr. Burry. I think it was James Burry. He was our science teacher, so he put us in the program because it was a competition. You had to create a project, and we submitted. We had it out, displayed, and things of that nature. I think I remember mine being how detergent pollution affects plant growth. So I had all types of things. Of course, you had the plant with water, the normal growing cycle. And then I had, I think, some with bleach, dish detergent, clothing detergent, all kind of stuff, just to see the difference if, the plant would grow, if it wouldn't grow, like that. So that was pretty much it. So wasn't involved in a lot of extracurricular activity in the high school. The beginning probably was my last year, so I believe with junior police cadet. I believe I went all the way to was freshman year with that, and then So prior to that, I was into academic games. I love that. And I don't know if it was a competition of it or just the games on set, Wolf Proof, equations and all that. It was more so like you learning, you know. I recall having this one solution to this problem that I carried for so long. It was so lengthy. I can't remember to this day what it is, but it was so lengthy, and I would try to make my board to where I had enough pieces to make that long, you know, solution to the problem for equations and things. So that was more so with math. Wolf and Proof, I believe, was more like propaganda things, and Onset was another version. But I love that, and we traveled. So I was into that kind of stuff. Choir. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to like elementary. I was in the choir. Only did that for elementary. But that's, yeah, pretty much it.
Okay. So in high school, how was the transition for you from then to college?
Oh, so I didn't go right after high school. So I guess I would be called a late college bloomer because I didn't go right after high school. So years later, and I decided to get a degree. Started with at Davenport with an associates in computer information systems. Then I got the bug and wanted to finish up, and now I'm saying with not only a bachelor's but a master's in criminal justice with a concentration in law.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got that out at Kaplan University.
Oh, yeah. So what schools did you go to? I meant to say that as well, like as far as middle school and high school, what schools were you in?
Okay, so well, we can start since you asked me about elementary. That was Campbell Elementary, Pelham Middle School, Murray Wright Senior High School.
Okay. So what did you do after high school? Like right after high school, once you graduated?
Went into the military. Right, few months after graduation, went into the United States Army, and so my first duty station, training was in Newark, New Jersey, at Fort Dix, New Jersey, and Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And so those were my training. And then, but my first duty station was actually in Germany. So that was fun. So I actually stayed over, although I didn't stay in the military long. I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, and so I got out, but I stayed over in Germany because my husband at the time was still in. So that was like really cool experience being over there in Germany.
So how was Germany compared to like living wise from here in Germany into the US? How was that living wise? Was it a lot different? Was it different rules?
I'd say it's different. So in Germany, I'll be honest, I felt a sense of peace. You know, I'm born and raised in the city of Detroit. I don't live in fear, so I don't like, you know, I know we get a bad rap on, you know, how our city is and things of that nature. Never was afraid to come and go and things of that nature. However, over in Germany, this is more of a peaceful setting, you know what I'm saying? So I even went to college over there, University of Maryland, the European branch. So I'll get home late at night catching the bus, things of that nature. Didn't worry about anything of the sort. So, but it was a difference. The citizens over there, to me, the younger ones, they welcomed, you know, the U.S. soldiers and the Americans there. However, I think it was a little different vibe from the senior residents. You know, probably historically or what have you, some, you know, historical issues they might have had with the U.S. or what have you, but you didn't get the like vibe they want you, you know, in their country. But it was cool. But I still felt a sense of peace. It's not like they were trying to harm, you know, you or anything. But that was pretty much it. But weather-wise, the winters was like terrible to me. Like not like in the sense with us, we had all that snow. We get all the snow. Well, we did at one point. It's been sort of like mellowing out these last few years. But Germany, the temperature at one time was like almost unbearable at times. But it was beautiful. And then it's next to so many other, other countries. Like you can get, I went to France twice, Poland, Czechoslovakia. All those were like a bus ride away. You know what I'm saying? So great experience.
That's awesome.
So
So
4 years.
how was it raising your child in Germany?
It was fine. My oldest, she was over there, probably her toddler. It was okay. So she did, a little bit over here at home, and some there in Germany. It was fine. It was different, but she wasn't over there like as an older child.
Mm-hmm.
So but gave her a little experience. She could say she, you know, lived in another country in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, I came home. She wasn't born there, and I did that specifically to ensure, I didn't have to go through any citizenship concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you part of the military, when you are U.S., when you're in the military, if I was to have had her like on the military compound and things of that nature, she would be considered a U.S. citizen. But there's no chance. You don't know the chances of if you make it to the military hospital versus you have to go ahead and go into the German hospital, because no matter, depending on where you're at the time.
Yeah.
So because of that, I just chose a few months before I was due to come home to have her. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. And then went back. So she was born here in the U.S.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So how was the move for you from Germany to the U.S.? Was that different, or was it like the same as how you came back home for 1 year?
No issues. You get out of routine. I had a certain routine when I first got home, and gradually stopped from that stuff like exercise and things that you're so used to having this particular regimen. But other than that, no difference. Home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what made you go into becoming a soldier? Like
going in the military?
Yes, going into the military.
Actually, to be the reason why I went for school, they have they give you the opportunity to go to school, pay for schooling, and that was the initial reason. And so, but I was told almost immediately once I got to my duty station of things of that nature, and we met our commander, and he very stern told us all the soldiers that he don't care what, pretty much I'm paraphrasing. He don't care pretty much what you come here for, like, because everybody raising their hands, school, this travel, you're here to protect and serve our citizens, mm-hmm. the United States citizens. So mm-hmm. that pretty much wrapped it up, like, but I did some schooling while I was over there. Like I said, I didn't stay in long, but I did stay in Germany 4 years, lived in Germany 4 years.
Okay, nice. So once you came back to the U.S. and you started to go to college, how was that experience for you then? Was it like smooth, like, because you were already in your adulthood? So how was it being from the difference between when you first started as an adult up until by the time you're ready to settle down, go to college, things of nature? How was that transition for you then?
To me, it's, they always say things happen for a reason and in its proper time, and it's probably was best for me to go when I was, to me, I always felt I was a mature person even as a child, then pretty much do too much of typical child things. So but it was time for me to go then, I would say, because that's when I decided to just, and I'm a student at heart, like to learn, and I'm disciplined. Mm-hmm. So that's, that's the recipe of, going to college and studying and things of that nature. So I'm disciplined enough not to have the distractions. But it is also better when you got your, when you could, you make time on your own. Like for my master's, that was pretty much all online, mm-hmm. Which I didn't think I necessarily liked, because I like being in a classroom and being in front of the professor and
more
getting the
hands-on.
hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
However, now I probably couldn't sit in a classroom. I mean, I could if I had to, but I prefer
Being home.
just, my own space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how was so you say, so did you do any time at all in a classroom setting, or all of your college experience was
No, Davenport for my associate was in person.
Okay.
Classroom setting, but for bachelor's and masters, did I do any of the bachelor's on in person? No, we're online.
Okay. Did you have any particular favorite class while you were in college? Like either colleges that you were in?
And I was just mentioning this to my sister, Simone. We were speaking about math, right?
Mm-hmm.
So math in high school was like although I liked math, but it was a little challenging, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but when you get to college and you got to take the college version of trigonometry and algebra 3, or however you want to put it, and it's like, oh my God, I struggled in high school. I'm gonna get this, in college.
Yeah.
But I was telling my sister and my mother, I had probably one of the best professors at the time at Davenport. I believe it's Professor French.
Mm-hmm.
He broke it down so clearly, and I just couldn't believe how I was able to understand how he, was able to present the math to where I understood it. My most proudest grade was my algebra 3 grade in college, and I had A minus on the final, B plus in the classroom.
Yes.
And and we were speaking on how it takes the right professor or teacher, whatever the case, can make all the difference in the world. Because during high school, I didn't understand that stuff, but barely grasped it. So.
Yeah, most definitely. I can definitely agree with that, because when I was in high school, having my teacher, Mr. Guyton, the difference, because at the time we had so many different math teachers back and forth. And when we finally got Mr. Guyton, he was the only teacher that thoroughly broke down something, or at least took the time to step to the side and broke it down. And when I got the hang of it and it was just getting it, I was like, it's so simple.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world.
It's so simple, because some teachers just, you're like, what is this?
Right,
how do you do this? And then just being able to sit there and be like, wow, this is more simple. And it could be the same different teacher, but the same message or the same thing being taught. So I definitely can agree with that too.
Yeah, because what happens is like oftentimes you might have people who expertise or have knowledge in a subject, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're able to teach it effectively, at least. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a different, and my hat's off to teachers and professors, and that, without them, we wouldn't be where we at. Whatever profession anyone chooses starts from your education. And so hats off to them.
Yes, most definitely. So what made you choose the field of criminal justice?
Just say law. I love law, actually. So the criminal justice side comes in trying to figure out why criminals do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Just to try to get in like the inside of their thought process. And then so the law part I love, because I always think I can I want to be a lawyer without going through the schooling. If I could just get an honorary, because I always used to try to figure out, I can get him off, or her off on that case. I used to do that kind of stuff. So it's a mix of the two. So criminal justice, learning, about criminal listed behaviors of the, our community residents and why they doing things, and then the law side of it.
Okay. I always when I was in college and I was able to take an extra curriculum class, and they let me choose criminal justice, I was like, oh, I get to learn a little bit more of mom's world, a little bit, see what she's talking about. I used to tell my professor that, I was like, oh yeah, my mom criminal justice. I want to know a little more. And he was a great teacher. He was able to really break down different points of the class, and then we got cut off, from that class due to COVID. But so we couldn't be more detailed in person, because the in person was always better than online. Because I'm like, I get it, but it's like, I'd rather hear you say it, or let's talk about it, because I love the classroom discussions. We got really, serious about the discussion, or watching videos and statements and stuff. So it was really a great experience of attending and being able to get that insight. So that was really cool.
Yeah, criminal justice is very interesting. So a lot of a few of my colleagues, we go back and forth. See, I'm pretty much I don't really operate in the gray area. Either you did or you didn't. Although I know it's some circumstances that's probably on the edge or what have you. But when I look at, and that's just in other areas of everyday living. But when we're talking about committing a crime, you either did or you didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There may be a reason why you did it, whatever the case may be. Self-defense, you angry, somebody did X, Y, and Z to you, but you did it.
Yeah.
Or you didn't do it. It's one or the other. So I don't operate in the gray area. So criminal justice to me and law sort of like stay in my playing field. That's what I like because I believe in free will. And the reason you did X, Y, and Z, or she did X, Y, and Z, they had the will to do it.
Yeah.
So they did it. We can have an understanding, we can be empathetic about why they did it, because especially something like for self-defense or what have you, and we can have an understanding. It still doesn't negate the fact that they did it. So that's why I have a love for it, because it's the mix of the law.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a business named Safe Sense.
Yes.
Can you elaborate more of your business and what you do within your services?
So Safe Sense is a safety consulting company. So we provide safety precaution techniques as tools in hopes to help people be intentional about their situational awareness, right? So I'll tell you where it started. So years ago, it started in 2014. So I just did a 20-year career with Michigan Department of Corrections, right? So it started pretty much when I was, and one of my positions was a parole officer. So it started back then. It's like you get training on self-defense and things of that nature, but I started looking at, I want to minimize my risk, or I don't want to be in a position where I have to use self-defense or weapon or things of that nature, right? So I started like paying attention, what behaviors and what can I do to minimize my risk from becoming, or the risk of my colleagues or something becoming a victim in the first place. Because I think that's key. You minimize you start tweaking your behaviors. When you're intentional about your personal safety, then you tweak some of your behaviors. And I'll give you an example that I generally give to people. And speaking on back when I was in college. So I would finish, and I told you I was online, right? So I would finish my assignments and things of that nature, homework, papers, what have you, real late at night, maybe 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I would get up and go downtown to the main post office to pay my bills. I wasn't into doing anything online then, right? So I get my money orders, all that, all late at night. This is before Safe Sense. So it's like, why are you doing that? Today, would I do that? Absolutely not. So what did I just say about minimizing your risk? That's a risky behavior. I'm out and about generally between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. is where particularly maybe a lot of criminal behavior is taking place, right? So I'm out and about during that time. I'm putting myself at risk unnecessarily, because I can wait to 9, 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever, daylight at least, to go to the post office, because that bill is not about to go anywhere. It's going to stay right in the mailbox probably, or behind the the clerk's desk until time for the mail run, right? So it's all about providing tools, and I always been one to um, pay attention, and it starts with paying attention to your surroundings, right? And also to which is key, because if you're paying attention, we can't catch everything, but if you just put being intentional about your surrounding, who's around you, where are you at, are you being safe right now? So that's the question you always should ask yourself: am I being safe right now? What am I doing? Am I on my phone? Our phone is gonna just it's we need it. I don't and because it has like our whole life in it, but we have to start. That's the area we definitely everybody need to start tweaking. Like, okay, do I need to be standing out here on this corner with my head down on this phone? Probably not. Now, are there times when we must take a call, we must check our emails and text messages specifically? Yes, because we can't drive and bother the phone now, right? We probably shouldn't have done that in the first place, but okay, it is what it is. So now I'm gonna be in my vehicle and go ahead and do that. If I just have to do that, but I'm gonna have the doors locked, the windows up, the car running, right? So we just have to just start tweaking a little of our behaviors to try to bend it towards being a little bit safer, right? So a lot of things we have to do, but can we wait until we get safely in the building, right? Or can we wait to daylight hours? Do I really need that candy bar tonight to go to the gas station, right? So all of that is, so it's about Safe Sense, all about helping people, providing the tools to minimize your risk of becoming a victim of an assault. Hence, I've spent many years in the company of our citizens that do criminal behavior. So learning their triggers and what they get off of. And so what people need to have an understanding is that for the most part, they opportunists, right? So yeah, there may be some that get up, okay, today I'm going to rob somebody, right? But the likelihood is that the opportunity presented itself. You walking down the street, got your head in your phone, your purse hanging, whatever the case. Oh, I'm going to snatch that from you, hit you in the head. You see what I'm saying? So that's about safe senses, just trying to get people to be more cognizant of their safety, personal safety. Safe sense. So, but as a whole, though, Safe Sense, and I'm doing some rebranding. Like I said, it started in 2014, but doing some rebranding now. But it's a I want it to be a one-stop shop for all things safety, right? All safety matters. So I don't know even if I want some. What it is not a physical self-defense company, right? So I'm not teaching you karate or anything like that. However, I want Safe Sense to be, okay, Trinae, you want to take karate classes. You can contact Safe Sense. Here you go, here's your connection. Or I need a CPL class, that's carrying pistol license class, call Safe Sense to get me connected. Or I need fire safety class. So the goal is, in the vision, in the mission, whatever, Safe Sense to be a plethora of information to for all things safety. So it'll be a one-stop shop for things you need in the safety realm.
All right. Safe Sense makes sense.
Safe Sense makes sense.
All right.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, it's shout out break time. We want to give our love and support to Sharlene Burris with her business, Safe Sense. Safe Sense is an informational portal for safety awareness and safety precaution techniques for personal, business, and industry needs. Safe Sense makes sense. Check it out at safesense.org. All the information will be down below in the description and in the bio. All right, back to the show. So going back to something that you said recently, with you saying 20 years of being in your career field, can you elaborate more on that? When you first started as a parole officer into going over the years?
Well, I actually started in administrative support for 4 years. So pretty much that's providing clerical services for the parole agents and things of that nature. Did that for 4 years and then transitioned, because then at that point I had a degree in the Michigan Department of Corrections, you had to have at least a bachelor's degree to be a parole agent or a probation agent. And so, which they sort of interchangeable. We in the Department of Corrections, you are parole / probation agent, whatever. But my case has pretty much stayed in the parole realm. So then I entered as a parole agent, did that for 7 years, then entered management and was supervisor for 9. So I supervised parole agents.
Nice. How was that transition for you though? What did you see new growth within yourself? Did you see things changing, or was it like a casual continuance of where like kind of how you started?
Well, I tell you, with me, because I'm a person that function in order, consistency, and discipline, each one is fairly a smooth adjustment, right? So because I don't feel right until I know what I'm doing. So I never was like the person who like get a position and someone else that's like considered your subordinate showing you how to do something. That is like, that's backwards to me. So I always try to make sure I'm well informed and know what I'm doing so I can I'm in the position I need to play the part, right? And so it's an easy transition once you learn the job. So agent, did what I was supposed to do, learned the information, and it's pretty much you need the same information to be a supervisor, right? So supervisor is pretty much in management is pretty much now is about personalities. It's not necessarily about the information you learn, although it is you doing some processing, but for the most part, is now learning different personalities and how to collectively keep everybody together, and it's a team, make it a team form. So that's the adjustment, not the work itself, because it's the same information. It's just now I'm processing the work I used to submit. You see what I'm saying? So as a pro agent, I was submitting my work and going out in the field, in the community, and things of that nature, and supervising my parolees, the offenders. So now I'm on the other side, just processing the work I used to submit. But the bigger picture was managing personalities. I think that's pretty much when it comes to management, that's the biggest part.
Nice. So did you?
And that's not an easy task.
Yeah.
So, and particularly because you have to learn, and people throughout the years, people tell me you have to. I've been told meet people where they're at, not where you want them to be, right? So I'm one that discipline, like things in order. Everybody's not like that. Don't mean they can't do the job. Don't mean they don't want to do the job. Don't mean, can't be trained to do the job. They're just not like you. So that is actually it was challenging for me. I didn't see it like that. Like, this is where it's supposed to go. These are, policies and procedures, things of that nature. So you have to learn that everybody not on the same page. Get them to where bare minimum that they can do the job effectively and correctly, right? So I had to get away from when I want things a certain way. I generally do it probably myself when I'm, reviewing things, right? Because if it's not policy, I'm not going to send it back for corrections, things of that nature. But if it's something I just want a little tweak because I want it to look a certain way, I'll do that myself. Because that's just a personal thing. So I don't, get on, have an issue with someone for a personal thing I'm, into. Yeah. So pretty much is that's the challenge when you got people you're responsible for. It's pretty much easy when you're responsible just for yourself. Do I like being responsible just for myself personally? Yes. And it's just because it's when you're responsible just for yourself, it's simple, right?
Yeah.
Your comings and your goings, what you're doing, what have you. Another conversation I was just having with my sister and my mother, it was about doing college times and things. And I remember how, I believe it was Phoenix University, they used to have a lot of group projects, right? And I used to tell a friend of mine, like, my friend Tracy used to go there, and like I couldn't do that personally, be in that kind of environment, because I want to be responsible for me. So group grading and things of that nature never was a good thing for me, because I want it done right, I want it timely, I want it presented as supposed, as required. But then you might not have somebody on your team that thinks like that. They are last minute type person. They don't have the understanding of what the project is about. So they're not going to do it thoroughly, not going to research thoroughly. All that comes into play, right? And when you know yourself, it's best to keep yourself out of those type of situations. So I'm not a group type of person, like when it comes to projects. So that wouldn't have been a good university for me. So I like being responsible for myself and my own grade. These are my efforts, my what's the word when you I'm studying and doing things. That's my grade. I earned that grade, no matter what the grade is. That's for me, right?
Yeah.
And it's not dependent upon that you give me your paper, your part of this project for me to get this grade. So.
Yeah, I can definitely get you on that, because I used to be very serious about that in college too, when we had to do groups. And I always like, I did respect the teachers or professors, excuse me, at the time, that let us choose who we want to work with, because we know who's actually going to work versus who's going to be lazy about it, who's not going to be very serious about it. I respected those professors more, only because of that, because the ones that chose for you, it's like, now I got to work with who I got to work with. Some people are not going to do it. Some people are not going to show up. And I remember being in psychology class, and no, yes, two different classes. So in psychology class, she let us choose who we want to work with, compared to, for example, a child development class, and we had to um, she selected our people for us. And now when the presentation day came, sometimes we didn't have half the group. Sometimes some people didn't actually work. Some came late or wasn't aware, but we all put ourselves in a group setting. So I get that.
So the thing about that is that when you know who you're dealing with, then you have to, and oftentimes you'll end up doing not only your part, but the other person's part. And see, and that's the part where you have to be aware, and really early on, because if you want that grade, a good grade, and you want it turned in timely, then you're going to have to, more than likely, might have to do their part too. And that's the part I'm not a fan of.
Same here. And that's what, and then when it came to the day of presenting, and we, meet the people that did show, we had to come to the professor like, hey, just letting you know, we did A, B, and Z, or A, B, and C, excuse me, and they didn't participate in certain things. We weren't as a group. And sometimes you have to speak up on that, because the teacher or a professor will give you the person that didn't do a thing a percentage or a grade, and they weren't.
They get the same grade.
So when we finally spoke up about it, the ones that really put in the hard work and time, sometimes you got to speak up, because if it's a very big project, and everyone had to get split percentages of the project and stuff, it gets complicated, it gets frustrating. So I can definitely agree with you on that. Now, in the beginning, you pulled from our fishbowl, and you pulled consistency. So how important is consistency in your life now, from how you grew up with yourself through your stages of life, and how important is consistency to you?
Consistency is very important. It's sort of aligned with me, with being dedicated or organized, right? So if you consistent and you follow these steps or what have you, you doing what you're supposed to do on a regular basis and you getting things done, it's sort of still the same alignment with me as being that person that's organized and like things in order, right? Hence military, like things in order. And so when you're consistent, to me, all that's aligned together. And that's always just been me. Like I'm going to pretty much, like I said earlier, I'm a rule follower, right? So I'm gonna do things as they supposed to be done. Not saying that stuff don't happen. You know what I'm saying? That may change, it may redirect you. However, for the most part, do things how they're supposed to be done. Try to be timely and respect other people's time and things of that nature. But consistency, like I said, to me aligns with me being organized and dedicated to whatever I'm doing at the time. So it's all to me in alignment.
Okay. So how do you feel like over time for yourself, what have you seen change within yourself through the years from um, either you can start from elementary, from middle school, high school, or from when you were in college up into your adulthood? How have you seen yourself change over time through the fields? Because from just overall hearing so far, you've had a lot of similar fields, far as either military, criminal justice, you being within the company you work for 20 years, all of those all correlate with each other. So what have you seen within yourself change through those time periods?
Well, I tell you, as far as with working Department of Corrections, you you definitely have to be a certain type of individual, particularly if you're in the field with when you supervising offenders, right? So you have to. It's a lot of things you have to, and I think me being from Detroit, raised on the East Side, and you have to, well, I had to, you have to grow up quickly. You have to learn right from wrong quickly, right? So knowing that, it sort of put me in line on being able to deal with my um, clients at the time, what have you. And so, but throughout the years, I also learned, you get older and you so figure some things, how certain things are not as important, right? And doesn't cause for a certain type of reaction, right? It may have been a time where I would react right away to something, right? And today it wouldn't even bother me because it's not important. So what happens over time is in the importance of things, right? So it used to be, oh my God, I got to go and do this, X, Y, and Z. Today, it means absolutely nothing, right? So your tolerance. So I have a greater tolerance now for things than I didn't before. So, and that's what I'm saying. So some things I would have reacted quickly to something. I had less tolerance, right? Now, yeah, it's just some things it's just not important, and that goes with learning over time. As far as even just life in general, about, and that's what safe sense come into play, right? So safe sense, I want to keep myself safe, keep my family safe, friends safe, right? So I know that's not worth reacting to that person who just maybe bumped into me or said something, out the way or inappropriate, right? The different reaction many years ago versus today. Today, it would be blown off more than likely, right? Because it's not important. Because today, so many things, the times has changed to where people have short fuses. We see it every day on the bare minimum of things, people are set off, right? So, I'm not that person to where I'm not going to give you what you're looking for in that, in that space. So I'm not going to set off with you. So it's just over years, I'm just changed. You come to value more things. The most important things is peace.
Yeah.
So with me, you protect your peace.
Mm.
So whatever that means, and that means differently for everybody,
Yeah,
right? It's
most
different for
definitely.
everybody, but protect your peace. And one of my favorite saying, "Do you," right? So, and what that means is do what you need to do for you
Mm-hmm.
in whatever circumstance. Don't try to do me, because I'm protecting my peace in whatever manner that might be, and you do whatever you feel you need to do.
Yeah.
So tolerance over the years, um, just you, and it comes with getting older. Generally, some people, you can't say it's everybody, because we got old people that still act young people who act older, right? So you can't say, oh, once you get a certain age, you're gonna be like that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not, right? And like I mentioned earlier, how I felt I pretty much been mature all my life. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really do too many children or things,
At the age that
right,
you would think.
age appropriate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sitting on the back porch at the house reading the whole newspaper when probably children was outside playing in the dirt,
Mm-hmm.
or watching cartoons or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, and then like I said, a lot of things that happened for a certain reason. Because for one, I knew I wasn't didn't have play clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew I'm not about to mess up my clothes, because I need those for school, right?
Yeah.
So it's just your circumstances, put you in a position to um, react in different ways,
Yeah.
and move about in different ways. So
I was just gonna say that. Do you feel like the different surroundings that you're in, or the way that you grow up, or the people that are you're surrounded in growing up, does that characterize who you are, or how you carry yourself?
absolutely, I think if you do a deep dive of everyone, the ones that even we feel are, you know, on the criminalistic side, what have you. But you do a deep dive in a lot of things, people's personality and how they carry themselves, how they are today, or what they're doing today,
Mm-hmm.
stems from their childhood,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and it's probably came full circle with Safe Sense, right?
Yeah.
Because I had to, keep myself safe as a child, right? So, not that anyone were, out where I see what, bother me. I had a couple older sisters, so their friends made sure, if they see me in the street, that I was fine and what have you. But
Mm-hmm.
I still knew, don't do that, don't do this, don't go there, have your have your tail back home,
Pretty much
appropriately,
common sense.
right?
Yeah.
And see, and that's where Safe Sense come in, is a play on the common sense, right?
Factor, yeah.
But common sense is not common, right? I think a lot of it has to do with how you were raised and your upbringing, right? Because just in prime example for you, like, you didn't go through what I did as a child. Why? Because I didn't put you in that environment.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You didn't have to be. Only thing you did, go out the house, get in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Me, grew up, we walking, got to catch the bus, got to get here, got to get there, be in the community. That wasn't your makeup. That's not your reality.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely say your upbringing, your childhood has a big part to do with who a person is as an adult.
Most definitely. I definitely can say that. And then I also, with you teaching me certain skills of safety awareness, with me when I went to college, taking a bus, three to four buses every day, going to school back and forth, being alert, especially in the dark when it was winter time and having to catch the bus. So paying attention to cars going by, if it's unfamiliar, if you're feeling a little off, call or be on the phone while you're at the bus stop. So I definitely get that. And just being aware. Also in the beginning, I had you to choose a number between 1 through 10, and you chose number 9, number 9B. And number 9 is how do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, safe sense being more recognized and within locally, but of course, the goal is a global recognition, but definitely recognized as being of a service to people and being more involved in community where safe sense is being utilized, their services to help in all aspects, whereas with law enforcement, whatever the case may be, providing different services, seminars, training, things of that nature, to just get an overall awareness to people. Because that's just ultimately, we want people to be more safe, right? So 5 years from now, I pray that well, it will be more successful in that aspect where the name is well known, recognized, and to provide better service for people.
Okay. And what about yourself? Like, do you feel like you will be still in Michigan? Do you feel like you will be traveling more with Say Sense, or just like how do you feel like within yourself through the 5 years?
Me personally, on a peace journey, I'm hoping that it'll be at a point where it could run on its own without me, because I'm seeking that peaceful destination as well, right? So not just like my current space. I want to eventually be in a peaceful environment, peaceful and cleanly. Cleanliness is my thing, and so perhaps not. So maybe a coming and going, having another space to go to or what have you. It'll be real cool if traveling with Safe Sense, because of course, if I want it to be global, that's traveling, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be excellent and real cool for that. So yeah, me too. Traveling, be in a different space, different area, and we'll see.
Okay. Now, do you have, before we close, do you have any helpful tips on any of, I'm gonna throw out 3 topics and you get to choose from any of those. From you being a veteran, or from you being in criminal justice, or just in general overall, what are some helpful tips or advice that you would give on a day-to-day, like if someone is besides, because we already spoke a lot on safety, but if they're interested in becoming going into the military, or if they're interested in going into criminal justice, or being a college student, do you have any helpful tips on that process?
So my thing is this. For one, college is not for everybody, right? So we can't say, it's been proven time and time over again that it's not necessary to become successful and financially stable, right? So it's not for everybody. So you make sure it's something that is for you.
Yeah.
I liked it because I'm learning and getting some information, right? And it's also a field I was interested in, and I worked in the field. So overall, it was the package for me, right? And that's what I'm into. I'm into the law. I'm into safety and things of that nature. So it was a good fit for me. So you have to me, the focus, and should be for everybody, do things and seek out things that you love doing, right? And I think I heard Warren Buffett say this, like, and do things that you would do if you didn't get paid for. So if you, and that's why safety is my thing. Like I always say, children and our seniors gonna, probably give me, I flip out the most when I see them out in the community and I see them not being in a safe environment, or something is not right. They running away, they far away from the parents, things of that nature. Our seniors in the bank, purse all open and things of that nature, so I'm watching, trying to protect from afar, things like that. However, but that's my love, right?
Yeah.
So I do that on a regular, whether I'm gonna get,
because it's infusing.
Yeah, and so whether I'm gonna get paid for it or not, that's just me, and it's always have, as long as I can remember. So I think it's really important for people to do things that they love to do. That way, the money getting financially supported for is a bonus, right? So if you love what you're doing, the stress is gone, right? But like you can develop a stressful situation. So like if it's job setting, what have you, but then you got to tweak it. And then you find it's an area to tweak. So I did 20 years. So now it's another area I need to focus on safe sense, right? And because you don't want the stress. If it get to any point where stress is involved, it's time to reevaluate, right? And so we know stress kills. So we want you do things that will keep you at peace, no matter what it is. So even if you got to change the game up later, okay, maybe this not for me. I thought this was the route I wanted to take. Okay, tweak it. Let's reevaluate. Nothing wrong with that. Just keep it moving, but do things that keep you at peace. Yeah. Right? And that's it.
I feel like the world definitely needs that key tool in itself with all the nonstop violence, gun violence, or just violence in general in any type of way. Just need that factor, especially over the years. We've changed a lot compared to 10, 20 years ago. We were not extremely, like, we were still violent, but it wasn't as intense as it is now with so many things that's taking place in the world that, you really got to watch your back.
Yeah, hence safe sense is like, safe sense is necessary now because it's just different time and day. Like it's no more like back when I was growing up, you can almost fall asleep on the porch and have no worries, door open and everything, keeping the door open for air all night. That's not where we at today. Yeah. Well, I'd love for it to get back to that, absolutely. But in the interim, you got to just do your part. Now, one last thing, and Safe Sense is advocate of this. We don't function in fear. I'm not saying you operate in fear. You don't operate in fear. You just be intentional about your safety and watch your surroundings. Yeah. Be aware, right? So if you're aware of something coming or you see you're about to approach, to go the other way. Yeah. Avoiding hints, lessening your chances of becoming a victim. That's the key, right? You don't want to get to, and then if it's when you have to, then you have to protect yourself. However, you don't want to be in that position in the first place, right? Yeah. So safe sense makes sense. Okay. And also, would you like to say any closing statements before we close the episode out? I know you said that was one point. Was that your closing? Well, I want to say I appreciate you having me on your podcast. Elegance of Nae, right? Yes. I appreciate it. I never been a guest on a podcast. So this was very interesting and I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. Of course. And of course, guys, we will be having our lovely Ms. Burris information down below in the description and in our bio. Make sure to stay tuned for this. Are we going to have a part 2? Never know. So people get all your listening ears together for this one. Never know. Well, we'll see what's in store in the future. Be on the lookout for it, for much more to come. And like always, until next time, see ya. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Elegance of Nae podcast. I'm your host, Nae, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also follow us at the Elegance of Nae podcast. Until next time, see ya.